Hello team, welcome to another ATP Geopolitics video with myself, Jonathan MSP. This is Ukraine War breaking news update for the 29th of February 2024. I just wanted to talk to you about this piece of news that's just coming out because it explains an awful lot. And it also shows that there are some fractures within Europe, and it also explains some of the rhetoric that's been taking place between France and Germany of late. Okay, let's rewind a little bit. What's happened? So a couple of days ago, France convened, or Macron convened this meeting with 20 European leaders and talked about changing things up, upping the rhetoric, talking about winning, putting the idea out there that there could be boots on the ground in terms of Western forces in Ukraine. Right. Then Germany have come out and said, no, we're not going to put boots on the ground. But also alongside this, you had the announcements of Taurus. And one of the reasons given by Olaf Scholz for not giving the Taurus missiles was that he did not want to commit German forces to Ukraine in order to kind of program those missiles. And everyone's like, hang on, but there aren't British and French people in Ukraine programming the Storm Shadow missiles and the Scalp missiles. So, what's going on there? Anyway, it turns out that Scholz has made a bit of a boo-boo. Right, okay, British soldiers helping fire Ukrainian missiles, Olaf Scholz reveals, says the Daily Telegraph. So German Chancellor criticised for flagrant abuse of intelligence that could endanger UK personnel on the ground and help the Russians. So Germany was accused of flagrant abuse of intelligence after revealing that British soldiers are supporting Ukrainian forces launching long-range Storm Shadow missiles. Olaf Scholz said on Monday that he would not deliver the Taurus, Berlin's equivalent of the Storm Shadow, as it would require soldiers assisting on the ground, citing the UK and French approach with their own system. So I never realised that part of what he said was to basically admit openly that UK and French personnel were in Ukraine. So Mr. Scholz argued that following the UK would make Germany a participant in the war. In other words, the implication was that UK and France are participants in the war. So the comments were seen as endangering British military and diplomatic personnel on the ground. Tobias Ellwood, so the former chairman of the Commons Defence Committee, said, quote, "This is a flagrant abuse of intelligence deliberately designed to distract from Germany's reluctance to arm Ukraine with its own long-range missile system. This will no doubt be used by Russia to racket up the escalator ladder." And Mr. Scholz was also criticised by German opposition MPs. Now, the reality of the situation is that Germany are giving way more than the UK at the moment. So the UK needs to be careful about slagging off Germany and saying, well, you're not giving Taurus, because Germany can turn around to the UK and say, yeah, but we're giving a lot more than you are. And although there's arguments about who gave certain things first, like the British gave Storm Shadow cruise missiles first, the British gave main battle tanks first, westernised main battle tanks, that being. So we cannot say, oh, well done, Britain's amazing. But actually, Germany can come back to us and say, look, you can't criticise us. It's only Taurus that there's this issue. So there is plenty of opportunity for fractious debate here. And what might undergird some of the rhetoric that came from France back to Germany. So recently, some people in my threads are saying, why the French starting to ramp up this rhetoric with Germany? Actually, it could be down to the fact that the French feel aggrieved that the Germans have just dropped them in hot water. So, quote, "The Chancellor's statement regarding France and Britain's alleged involvement in operating long-range cruise missiles used in Ukraine is completely irresponsible," Norbert Röttgen, a senior MP from Angela Merkel's former ruling party, the CDU, said. Mr. Scholz is under mounting pressure to deliver long-range missiles to disrupt Russia's supply lines and prevent Moscow taking further territory. He said on Monday that German soldiers could not follow their British and French peers in, quote, "the way of target control and accompanying target control. The Storm Shadow is co-produced by UK and France. Quote, German soldiers can at no point and in no place be linked to the targets that this system, the Taurus, reaches, not even in Germany," which is, saying, yeah, we can help you. We can give you these missiles. We're not going to program them. We're not going to come to Ukraine and program them, and we're not even going to program it in Germany. La 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 la. Do with them what we want. Don't tell me. Don't tell me. Who are you going to shoot at? No, don't tell me. And that seems really bizarre. So Scholz is not being cool here in my book, and I'm always reticent to criticise allied members of alliance members, if you like, So leaders, I'm always trying to look for explanations of why they make these decisions and trying to understand what they do. I guess it could be my kind of predilection for this kind of lack of free will. And there's always explanations why people do things. Yet I'm still happy to criticise those I disagree with. So I know there's a tension there. There's philosophically a tension there. And so, yeah, this is just to continue the article here. So, Britain is known to provide intelligence on Russian targets, but it is unclear what level of support is given to Ukrainian troops firing its missiles on the ground. On Tuesday, the UK government announced it had a small number of soldiers deployed inside Ukraine, specifying only that some were involved in medical training. Mr. Scholz's speculation on the role played by British troops in Ukraine has heightened concern for the safety of diplomats and other personnel stationed in the country, defence sources told The Telegraph. It's also increased the threat of potential Russian overseas intelligence operations on British soil, the sources added. So, this is really not doing anyone any favours. The article continues, in response to Mr. Scholz, the Ministry of Defence simply referred queries to Kyiv on Tuesday. Quote, Ukraine's use of Storm Shadow and its targeting processes are the business of the armed forces of Ukraine, a spokesman told The Telegraph. The UK, along with other allies, is providing a range of equipment to Ukraine to help it counter Russia's illegal and unprovoked aggression. Taurus missiles are capable of deeper strikes and contain more sophisticated bunker-busting technologies than the British Storm Shadow and French Scalp cruise missiles delivered last year. And so on and so forth. Oh, this is interesting. The German missile, which has a range of 310 miles, could easily strike politically sensitive targets such as Moscow or Kerch Bridge, linking Russia with occupied Crimea. Justin Crump, chief executive of Sibylline, an intelligence consultancy, said, I went to school with Justin Crump. He's in my year. I'll probably contact him and see if he wants an interview. Quote, British support to Ukraine is hardly news to Moscow, given repeated leaks, but this has previously been veiled in ambiguity, itself drawing on a trick from Russia's own playbook. Mr. Scholz, though, has more clearly pierced this veil. His assertion is a gift to Russian propagandists already forming a key part of Russia's effort to undermine NATO cohesion and support for Kyiv during its critical period ahead of US and UK elections. More immediately, it will drive Russia to redouble efforts to target foreign forces present in Ukraine and make inflated claims of losses. Mr. Scholz has a deep mistrust that Ukraine would ignore his orders not to strike those targets, analysts said. Quote, it has become very clear that the reason why he is not in favour of delivering Taurus is because he fundamentally does not trust the Ukrainians to use those missiles in a way that does not go against what he perceives as Germany's interests. Fabian Hoffmann, doctoral research fellow at the Oslo Nuclear Project, said. Mr. Scholz is absolutely frightened that any of these Taurus missiles could be used in an attack against a politically sensitive target, either in Ukraine or Russia. Simply the theoretical ability to strike targets as far as Moscow with German weapon systems creates a blockage in the Chancellor's head. A massive fear of escalation potential and the consequences this could have for Germany. Experts say that Germany could overcome its fears of escalatory strikes by pre-programming donated Taurus missiles to prevent such attacks. The US is known to have installed geo-blocking software on its HIMARS rocket launchers sent to Ukraine, preventing Kyiv's forces from firing into Russian soil with the weapons system. So that's the situation. The UK and France rightly annoyed with Olaf Scholz about this. He has made a bit of an intelligence faux pas there. There's no doubt about that. And as mentioned, Norbert Röttgen here, he's quoted in the article himself, Chancellor's statement regarding France and UK's alleged involvement in operating long-range cruise missiles used in Ukraine is completely irresponsible. Scholz demonstrates a lack of concern for our allies' interests and strengthens divides amongst Europeans. And that's what I was talking about with regard to the French rhetoric, and it's arguably not France's fault that rhetoric is there. It could well be a response to what Scholz has said. And then Kiev Independence reports on this. And finally, I'm just going to refer to Benjamin Tallis, who is a bit of a... he's more of a... Where's he gone? Oh, he's over here. He's a Berlin expert, German sort of international politics and security expert here. So he's got quite a few things to say. He says Scholz has made himself and Germany into a target. 3 reasons he's referring to, or expect here, saying 3 reasons why Putin may bring this up now so clearly. Pushing back against Macron's assertive language, targeting Scholz, who continues to display fear at every opportunity, and playing into Trump's hands, dividing the weakening the West diminishing support for Ukraine. So this just gives, I guess, grist to the mill, gives ammunition to those who want to knock those wedges into European unity, to drive a wedge to create a chasm between allied nations. It's a real shame. This Ben Wallace, a former UK Defence Secretary or Secretary of Defence, has said time and again Germany has been last to help Ukraine at every stage. They had to be pushed or embarrassed into doing anything. Personally, I think it's a bit harsh, as talking to Germany from Ukraine, saying that actually it just took time to ramp things up, and the 5,000 helmets thing, which is this almost like mythological status now, was actually, it wasn't that's all they gave. They're actually doing other things, but just ramping up the ability to do that just in a more organised fashion. But yeah, Ben Wallace, you can see there as being pretty strong. Alicia Kern saying Scholz's comments are irresponsible and a slap in the face to allies. And then a few other ones. Fabian Blank here, German, says German voters equally puzzled and fed up. My hunch is that 2/3 easily agree with Ben Wallace's statement. It's a train wreck in slow motion, embarrassing and disastrous beyond belief. So as Ben Wallace was quoted in that piece, was Scholz's behaviour showed that as far as the security of Europe goes, he is the wrong man in the wrong job at the wrong time. That is a pretty devastating critique of Scholz. So he's now going to have to manage the fallout of this. There's a lot to do for Germany to claw back all the good work they have been doing. And let's not forget the wonderful assistance they have been given to Ukraine and stepping up where other nations haven't. But I think this whole tourist thing is just an opportunity for people to have a go at Germany again and undo all the good work, because perceptions are as important as reality. And if people are having a go at Germany for tourists, or for the lack of tourists, then that's what people believe. And people will believe that Germany is not fulfilling its role, even though it clearly is in every other aspect of support for Ukraine, pretty much, or at least relatively speaking. So it's a really difficult situation. I do not want this to be an excuse to slag off Germany, because I think that will in the end be counterproductive. What I hope is that Germany go, oh yeah, sorry about that, okay, here's a bunch of tourists. That's ideally the best outcome here, which is tourists goes to Ukraine, and Ukraine are in a better position. But I guess we'll see. Let me know what you think about this and where you see this going. I mean, the reality is that, as suggested, there are troops on the ground in Ukraine anyway. There are special forces troops, that's for certain. But it's interesting that it appears that there are other troops doing, or military personnel at least, doing specific things inside Ukraine to help the Ukrainians. And I personally assume that there's probably a number of different ways that we are helping inside Ukraine that will be well underneath the radar, and away from the front line. So, they're unlikely to get hit, and there's going to be safety kept, they'll be shrouded in secrecy. But I assume that we are helping in more ways than just one or two. The last thing I'm going to say, it regards my channel here. So thank you so much to one of my viewers, actually. This is Chris Jones. Chris Jones reached out to me of Clockwork Design and New Media. So if you want to go and find him, if you need any designs doing for you, he's your man, quite frankly, because he's just put this together for t-shirt and patch designs for ATP Politics, ATP Geopolitics, sorry, who am I? Check out these designs and let me know which ones you like. I like them all. I want to see them on t-shirts and mugs and stuff, just because they look really cool. So I'll hopefully upload these to Redbubble, where I'm already selling the ones I'd previously designed, which are my old Atypical Philosopher ones. ATP Geopolitics, Fighting Disinformation. I like that. You can see that on a t-shirt. Oh, that's pretty damn sexy, isn't it? It depends what your predilections are for that kind of thing. And then, I love ATP Geopolitics, at ATP Geopolitics, even though that's not my Twitter handle. That is a way of finding me on YouTube. So if you put at ATP Geopolitics, well, I think it's at ATP Geo. So yeah, stay informed. I mean, these aren't final. We might mess around with some of these. Stay informed. I love that. I love the pixelated Ukraine map there. Yeah, and good, looking good on the t-shirt too. Slava Ukraini, brilliant. Love a bit of that. Yeah, these are just brilliant. So I mean, he's your man for design. So if you've got anything that you need designing, hit him up at Clockwork Design and New Media. Yeah, Slava Ukraini, ATP Geopolitics, and then we've got some patches. I might look into seeing if there's anywhere where you can get patches done. But that looks pretty cool at ATP Geopolitics. Stay informed. Love that. So anyway, I'm just pretty excited, as you can imagine, at ATP Geopolitics, keeping you informed. That's what I hope to be doing. So look good on the t-shirt, looks good on a mug, will look good on as a patch. As you can see, I've got some patches. Oh, one of them's fallen off. I need to get some proper Velcro stickers, which are coming in the post to keep my patches up over there. But there you go. That's what they could look like on the side of your denim jacket. And yeah, just another bunch of those designs there. It's just brilliant. So thanks, mate. Thanks, Chris. You are an ossifer and a gentleman. I really do appreciate that. Go and check out Clockwork Design and New Media at clockwork-design.co.uk. He's an absolute legend. Anyway, that's enough from me. Thank you so much. Take care, everybody. And I'll get on and do my mapping update shortly.